was brought up on a fruit farm in East Kent, and then around 1980 moved to the Kent-Sussex border, near where you guys are.
Yeah.
And spent around 10 years milking cows. So we had a herd of, my brother and I had a herd of about 120 Friesian cows. I'm personally very passionate about SIMMS. It's been, I'm 60 next month. It's been, did you think I'd look 60?
I mean, I kind of knew you were going to ask me that question.
I really hope, as I said, whatever contact you have with SIMMS, whoever it is with at SIMMS, you get that sense of teamwork and the fact that it's about we.
Hello and welcome to the very first episode of Making It Happen, the brand new podcast by SIMMS. I'm really, really excited to be bringing this to you today. Really, really honoured to have been asked to have hosted this first episode and to introduce you to all these wonderful people that are part of the SIMMS family. And I mean, obviously, to start with, we had to start at the roots and work upwards. So we thought, come on, let's talk to the person that really did make this happen. And so I'm delighted to be sat here today with Andrew Henderson. Andrew, hello.
Hello, Nicole. Hello.
How are you?
Really well, thank you.
Good.
And welcome to you and all your colleagues from Happy Chatters.
Chatty Hatters.
Chatty Hatters.
We are happy chatters, though, to be honest.
Well, that's what I thought, yes, exactly. So, yes, no, but welcome. And
Thank
we hope you have a great day at SIMMS.
Thank you. No, well, you've got a fantastic setup here. It looks marvellous. I mean, this is just something you knocked up, isn't it? This kind of amazing studio that we're going to be talking to a lot of people from your organisation today.
Yep, and I know they're looking forward to it. And our studio, which also is where we have our lunch and coffees and hang out and chat with colleagues. So, so we hope it's quite a sort of relaxed area.
It certainly feels relaxed. I'd say it's definitely very relaxed. Now, I would like to ask you how someone told me there's a few things I want to find out about you today. I've literally just met you this morning, Andrew. So there's a few things that would be good to have a conversation with you about today. But one of them, I mean, you were in the dairy industry. Is this right?
I was. I milked cows for around 10 years. I was brought up on a fruit farm in East Kent, and then around 1980 moved to the Kent-Sussex border, near where you guys are. Yeah. And spent around 10 years milking cows. So we had a herd of, my brother and I had a herd of about 120 Friesian cows. So we used to milk the cows for a couple of years, 3 times a day. So it was a 24/7 really operation.
So you were just milking some cows to just as you do, and then you just thought, I know what I'll do. I've got a vision. How did this happen? When was SIMMS founded? Take us right back to the very beginning.
Well, SIMMS was founded in certainly there was no vision at that stage, but a very, very good friend of mine who I met at agriculture college as part of my learning to milk cows, etc. He was an Apple Mac fanatic. He was really, really liked using them, but not just like using them, was really interested in the Apple Mac, and he needed to upgrade it because he had a lot of material that he needed to store and basically needed to upgrade. And we were looking, or he was looking for, where can I get an upgrade? Yeah. And at the time we were also, both of us having been to agriculture college, feeling, we loved farming, but we were a bit uncertain about the future, and there were things like milk quotas coming into place. So that was kind of running at the same time. And for some reason, we found a 1 megabyte upgrade that we could buy in the US, in the United States, for about half the price that you could buy it in the UK. Okay. And because we were feeling a bit disillusioned with farming, we had about, I think, £1,000 between us, £1,000 between us. We went and bought two flights to Houston in Texas.
Wow.
And went and bought 50 1 megabyte SIMMS on a bank loan from NatWest in Sittingbourne, and brought them back to the UK. He used one to upgrade his Mac, and we sold the other 49 outside the design centre in Upper Street in North London, where there was an Apple show.
Goodness me.
So that's how it all started. And in fact, we were known, we hadn't really formed a company or anything, so we needed a name for people to go and acquire these 1 megabyte SIMMS. So we started our life as Mr. SIMMS.
Mr. SIMMS, did you really? That's pretty impressive start to how it all happened. I mean, literally £1,000 between you, which obviously we're going back a few. I mean, what year are we talking here?
So this was in 1990. So Mr. SIMMS the day we sold our first SIMMS was on the 20th of January 1990. I think we were kind of, during 89, slightly worried about where our farming careers were going to go.
Yeah.
It was, we were very, very, very lucky in identifying an opportunity that, that has meant that the business has been around now for, 32 years.
Yeah.
We had absolutely no idea at that time the longevity and what the opportunity might present to us. So, take no credit that we had such a genius idea. We fell into we were very lucky.
But also, you took a risk. You saw, you noticed that there was maybe a gap in the market somewhere, and you took an opportunity. I mean, it's very entrepreneurial for, you've been in the agriculture, a totally different background and sector, which, I mean, my stepfather's a farmer. He's a Welsh sheep farmer, and I take my hat off to anyone that does farming. He's like, it's incredibly, it can be incredibly tough, and there's a lot of business acumen needed for that as well. But it's to go from that to this is totally diverse, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, no, it is, and we've learnt on the way, and we've of course made mistakes. But we've absolutely learnt from it, and from an early stage, we've been so fortunate to have worked with some fantastic colleagues that all played a massive part in how SIMMS has grown, but also how SIMMS is as a business.
Yeah.
It's again, I use the word luck. We've just been so fortunate of working with some great people, both present and of course in the past.
So, I mean, you started out on this amazing journey. I have this kind of vision of almost, I don't know, Dragon's Den or some kind of, the apprentice, that you're standing outside this centre and you're selling, literally to people coming into this. What happened after that? Did you literally right, okay, this has got some legs in it. Let's build this. How did you build on that if there was just yourself and one other person?
Well, I think, just commenting on Dragon's Den and The Apprentice, I would have definitely, or we would have definitely gone down a lift with nothing. And I'm sure Alan Sugar would have said you're fired on probably round 1 or 2.
Do you think?
I absolutely have no doubt. But, we learnt really quickly in that we were supplying users of Apple Mac users directly, but we learned that actually we'd be much better to work with partners who could help with the upgrade for their customers. And so 2 things happened pretty quickly, having realised there was a good opportunity here. One was we became a limited company, so we became SIMMS International in 1991.
Okay.
And we then also decided to operate very much in the channel, therefore working with a number of resellers who then gave a great add-on service in doing the upgrades for users. And that also allowed us to expand from the consumer into education or companies. So any organisation that were using multiple Apple Macs was obviously good business for us.
So but when you got started, did you realise much about yourself different from doing farming, which I imagine would be okay, stressful, but also quite a different environment, and then going into this kind of busy business world. Did you suddenly just get a passion for it? I mean, I know it's a long time ago. We're going back, 30 years, aren't we? But that must have been quite a big change in your life.
Yeah, I mean, my passion, the passion is really born by having a company and working, with people, with suppliers, with customers. It would be fair to say that even today, I don't have a passion about particularly IT or even an understanding of how all these wonderful gadgets work. But I enjoy working with, as I said, suppliers, with customers, and of course with colleagues.
Yeah. So you're a people person.
Correct.
That's good.
100%.
So that brings us on really nicely, actually, to talk about SIMMS, because one thing I've learned, obviously, I was very fortunate to meet with your team at an engineering design show, and they were just fantastic. Had a really good chat with them, and it was great to meet you. Very high energy, and we're very excited just to be talking to a lot of your team today. How quickly did the growth of the company start? I mean, if because there's a lot of you. How many of there are you today at SIMMS?
So today we're about 30.
Yeah.
So we started, as I said, there's two of us who founded the business, and I think in the first year we're up to about 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
We were, I keep using the word lucky, but friends joined the business and helped us, and but yeah, we've had a steady growth. As I said, to 30 people today.
Yeah.
But that, again, that's over 30 years. But we are, again, very fortunate that we have, a great number of colleagues who've been with us, 10 years plus. Claire, who I know you're going to be talking to later, been with us for 25 years. So,
wow.
So we really benefit from I'm having some very loyal colleagues.
Yeah, well, that says a lot about you, and it says a lot about the company. So if you were going to describe SIMMS to someone that knew nothing about it, we've heard a bit about you. We'll talk a bit more about you in a minute. There's a few more questions I've got for you. But how would you describe SIMMS to someone that literally didn't know anything about it?
I think. SIMMS's culture is, I wouldn't say it's unique, but it's been really formed from actually a very simple 2-letter word, in that it's always been about we. Mm-hmm. And although a small word, from we has, what's evolved is that people work with us as opposed to for us. And what this has created is a sense of teamwork, that everybody feels part of a team. And we recognized very early on that to be successful, there were a number of activities that had to happen. It wasn't just about sales or just about marketing or finance, that in order to be a successful business, you needed all the various areas of a business to operate really, really well. And that's why we keep referring to we, and why we keep saying the sum of our efforts is far greater than the individual parts of the company. And that, I think, it's difficult to perhaps explain, but that's the sort of kind of in our DNA. Yeah. And therefore, we hope people who work with SIMMS, whether it's you guys today or a supplier that we've been working with for 30 years or for 1 year, of course, our customers, we've got our auditors in today. Anybody who has a touch point with SIMMS, we hope they sort of sense and feel that culture. And you would know by walking in today what I've described. I hope that's how...
Totally.
How, from driving through the slightly broken wooden gate.
I've got one of those. We've had some storms this week. Yeah. It's all right.
So that's very, very important for us. It's our culture is really the foundation of what SIMMS is about, and then our 6 values, which we're very passionate about. Passion being one of them, and that kind of describes SIMMS today. And I really hope, as I said, whatever contact you have with SIMMS, whoever it is with at SIMMS, you get that sense of teamwork and the fact that it's about we.
Well, I think that's great, and I think, you know, like we touched upon even this morning when we were talking before coming on today, it's that collaborating with people. It's about joining with like-minded individuals, isn't it? And I think you encompass all of that at the company, and we certainly, having worked with you a bit by now, have realised that about you. Would you say that is why, you know, SIMMS would be a partner of choice for people?
Yeah, and being part of choice is, you know, clearly what I've described about the culture and our values. But I think one of the key components of being part of choice is listening.
Yeah.
To really understanding, and from that you get great knowledge, and then you hope you make great decisions.
Yeah.
And that in everything we're doing, whether that's, you know, in our marketing, in our sales, in our whatever part of the business, that's what we are trying to do all the time, to have the right, you know, to earn that position of being partner of choice.
Yeah. So with being the investment of choice, what would be different about that, or would that be?
Well, likewise, you know, we want our again, you know, particularly on our suppliers, to, you know, trust us. The fact that we do listen, we do understand, we're desperate to, or very keen to increase our knowledge base every day. Yeah. And by doing that, so we believe then we're in a great position to talk to our customers, and clearly our colleagues have a good understanding about what we're doing, both from a product or technology, but also just from the, you know, the day-to-day, you know, business.
Yeah.
It's a holistic approach in that it's not just about, say, technology. It's understanding all the components that are needed to be, you know, a great partner. Yeah.
And you mentioned those 6 values. So, talk to me about that. The six values. You've mentioned one of them, but what are those 6 values? And have they? When did those values become those values? And have they stayed the same, or do they change regularly? Like, is that an evolving process?
Well, that's the 6 values. So the first one, and in no order of importance, fun was very much a value that I started on. In fact, probably started before we even started the business. We had a lot of fun on the plane going to Houston and Texas, that's for sure. So fun is an important part, but also caring, and that's about not just caring clearly for our colleagues, but thinking about our neighbours and locally what we're doing. But that's one that we're very passionate about. Yeah. Knowledge, we've touched on, and the reasons. Professional, I think it's absolutely right. You can combine having loads of fun, but also being very professional. And, you know, I totally trust all of my colleagues, whatever role they're playing, that they remain professional. Passion, we're very passionate about SIMMS, and I'm personally very passionate about SIMMS. It's been, you know, I'm 60 next month. It's been, did you think do I look 60?
I kind of knew you were going to ask me that question. No, you don't look 60. You look much younger.
We'll carry on.
You look
so the fact that, as I said, I'm 60.
42. I had you down 42. Definitely younger than me.
So yeah, over half my life has been with SIMMS. So I'm very passionate about it, and again, very fortunate that many, you know, colleagues, you know, share that passion as well. God, well, how have we got to? Have I said 6 yet? I don't know.
You have said 6. You have said 6, and I think it's. I just think it's really, honestly.
There's one missing. No,
okay.
Yeah. And I know our marketing team here would be
will they?
Well, particularly creative. So
creative.
Yeah. So yeah, and you know, part of creative, one of the sort of lines we often use is thinking differently, and from that, trying to be creative in finding solutions to various challenges, or or how we market ourselves. And I guess part of being creative is doing this podcast series.
Well, absolutely. I was just going to say, you're like getting in front of these questions before I am here. Very good at this. I can't keep calling you Andrew. I'm finding it uncomfortable to do that. Now, there is a rumour that you do have a slightly different alias in the office, different name. Are we allowed to talk about that? Or the whole world is going to know, that you will no longer be known by Andrew Henderson if you share this with the world right now. But you do have another name, don't you?
I do. I mean, it's not particularly exciting on the basis it's my middle name. So I'm actually christened Andrew Rorke Henderson.
Yes.
But we discussed the agriculture college I was at, where I met our co-founder. In our class of 30, there were about 4 Andrews.
Okay.
So it just seemed easier to be called something different than Andrew.
I think Rorke sounds really quite exciting.
I was quite pleased about that. Yeah, no, I was very happy to.
I think it sounds a bit rodeo. I think like the fact that you're a farmer as well. It's like, I don't know, it's just got this, I like it.
So you think I've got a horse at home called Tonto or something?
Possibly. I think you possibly could. And if you haven't, you need to get one.
Absolutely. No,
or maybe a llama or something called Tonto or something. Something quirky and, a bit different. But I like Rorke. So can I call you Rorke now?
You please can call me Rorke.
Wow. Okay. We're like, I've got into it. I can now quit. That's good. When your team came to you and said, "Oh, you know what? We can blame Drew here. I'm sure Drew's got a bit to do with this, hasn't he? And Kevin, and there's a few other people involved. We won't name them all now. But who was it that did come to you actually and said, how about doing this podcast? And what were your first thoughts on this? Are you a podcast fan?
I am a podcast fan, and Kevin mentioned it to me a couple of times, and then the actual detail of the day and ideas around it was very much Drew. So no, totally embraced it. I mean, for us, we are
need to keep those two apart. They're dangerous.
They are dangerous. I think for us, we don't. Part of our culture and DNA is not perhaps to go and shout about our business. We are, of course, incredibly proud, but I don't sort of choose to be perhaps out there sort of saying how great we are. I'm not sure that quite fits with our how we behave and act and whatever. But I am incredibly proud, of course, of the team. But no, I think it's great that we were doing this today and just sharing and giving introducing some the important people from SIMMS to our customers or suppliers or anybody who's interested, just to have a better understanding about our business. And it is our people that it is all the wonderful colleagues I work with.
Oh, and I think that today that is it. We're doing a lot of meet the teams today, aren't we? But actually, and obviously starting with yourself. But as the months and weeks go on, you will be able to talk to really interesting people. And I always look at it personally myself as an opportunity to literally someone be a fly on the wall of your business and see what's going on, because it is interesting. It is what makes people tick. Everyone. I'd like to think most people are interested in people. It's a bit of a shame if they're not.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
So, how is your role at the moment, though, within the business? Like, obviously, we've heard all about your story in the background, but how is your role at the moment? Is it what's your sort of day to day?
Yeah, my day to day is we have a wonderful leadership team that run the business on day to day. So I'm obviously working with them. I tend to I have spend quite a bit of time talking to our vendors. Yeah. And that is just really going back to listening, understanding, getting knowledge about what's going on in our market. Yeah. The memory and storage market is very volatile. Prices are going up and down, and there could be allocation. So I spend quite a bit of time talking to our vendors. We have a fantastic board with a couple of non-exec directors. So spending time working with them about future plans, or particularly the last 2 years, how do we best deal with COVID and ensure colleagues' welfare and health and all that is is okay and the business is operating, etc. So they've been invaluable in assisting myself on that. And then obviously very happy to meet and enjoy company of customers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we haven't really talked about that. Certainly when I talked to your colleague Kevin at the EDS show, we sort of touched on how hard it had been for the past few years for everybody. How has that been? I mean, you know, we're obviously, it's getting further away, which is great, and people seem to be healthier, which is good. But how has that been for you as a business owner as well?
Yeah, it's been, we've learned a lot. I think we've learned a lot about ourselves. Like I think everybody has learned how to deal with COVID. I think we've identified, you know, how lucky, you know, we have been as a business that there has been demand for our products and we've been able to operate. So we are very, very fortunate, and we absolutely recognise that. And you know, again, massive sympathies to, you know, those who've lost loved ones and businesses that have failed through no fault of their own. So again, yeah, we feel very fortunate in the industry that we've operated. I think the thing we learned really quickly was communication. Yeah. And we've been really spending our time communicating with colleagues, with customers, with vendors, and by doing so, I think we've managed well through this. Yeah. But you know, so grateful that teamwork was in place, because without the teamwork, about everybody understanding and recognising it's the holistic, you know, roles that need to take place in order for the business to operate, and that meant we've been okay. That's
brilliant. That's good. Well, you know, and well deserved, I think, because I think it's the people that cared about the people that seem to have pulled through, which is, you know, the right way things being, isn't it? It's the way we like things to be.
I think so.
Yeah. And what about the future of SIMMS? Where do you sort of see things? Where would you like to see things developing? What would you? I mean, you know, if you had a bit of a crystal ball, how would you like? You know, over the next few years, what do you see as the future of SIMMS?
I see the future is that, you know, we continue to learn, and you know, clearly the last 2 years has been a massive learning curve, and we're going to take the lessons. We want to continue to grow the business organically at a pace that we're all comfortable about. You know, we like being privately owned, and so therefore, you know, plans in the future very much about what we as a business want to do. I still, as I mentioned earlier, I've got the passion, although I'm turning 60, and I think I get a train pass, but or train card, that's right. I'm still, you know, very energised, passionate about, you know, carrying on, and and I hope that, you know, the team, as much as they want to, stay intact, and we continue to work. As I said, I've got a great board, great leadership team, and amazing colleagues.
Yeah, and so talking about your colleagues, what makes like an employee of choice, if there could be such a thing? What would be that kind? You know, what is it you're really looking for? You've got a great team, but if we were interviewing, I'd love to do that with you. Could we just do that, like X Factor buzzers, get people in, chat to them?
Yeah, exactly. That could be a new show.
I don't know if that's a good idea, actually. That could be a whole new show.
Certainly more interesting than the actual memory and storage. But I think to be employed choice, I think one of the things we often think about is being a sort of a 100% referral business, meaning that, for example, if you were asked, which I'm sure you wouldn't be in the pub, you know, where should I go and get some memory from? And you say, well, I know this great company in Kent. That to us is what we want to achieve, because that's really about referral. So go back to asking a question about being employer of choice. Clearly, one way to demonstrate that is if colleagues put forward a friend or somebody that they know to come and join SIMMS. And actually, live today, happening at about 2:00, is I'm meeting such a person who is joining SIMMS in March, and she came to know about SIMMS through a colleague. Now, to me, there could be no higher sort of recognition of a business if you're going to suggest your best friend come and join SIMMS.
That is so refreshing to hear, because I am someone that I've had a business for about 11, 12 years, and I've given lots of friends jobs over the years, and but sometimes people are like, oh, you shouldn't employ friends, and sometimes people can become friends through business, through being colleagues or working with you. Other times people come through being friends or family. I've always thought, my ex-husband was a painter, and I'd be like, painting goes to him first. It's sort of keeping that, but it's really nice to hear that you've got that mentality as a company, and that actually sounds like it's really working because you embrace it. So maybe there's something in that, not shouting about how great you are, but just, sharing that with people, because I think that is something to be proud of.
Yeah, I think, and it's, you're absolutely right about it. One's got to be careful working with family members and with close friends. I suppose, Hope, who's joining us this afternoon, she's been recommended by a colleague and coming to the business, and excusing the pun, I really hope it works out for her. So I've had positive experience working, say, with family members. I've obviously learned farming with my brother, milking with my brother for 10 years. My youngest sister set up a SIMMS in Australia in 95.
Oh, wow.
And so that was probably a good mix, because we used to fight as children. So it was great having my sister involved in the business, but probably great that she was the other side of the world. So that stopped me.
I wonder if that's why my brother's moved to Hong Kong. Okay. I'm understanding now. Is SIMMS still in Australia?
No. We sold the business in 2011. Yeah. And it then got absorbed by a larger distributor. So the reason I hesitated, the brand SIMMS is no longer, but still a number of the people from SIMMS have been integrated into a much larger organisation. Yeah. So I'm still in contact with them, and certainly when travel opens up, which I know did yesterday in Australia, I would like to go back and see the colleagues I worked with for 15 years.
Do you? I get the feeling you like travelling.
I do enjoy travelling.
You like jumping on a net. Have you had your wings clipped the last couple of years? Not been able to. I mean, do you get to travel much with the business? Do you get to?
Yeah, it's going back to most of the vendors we work with are based either in the Far East, or in US, particularly California. So I tend to go to the States probably 2-3 times a year. Yeah. In normal, maybe Far East once. When we had Australia, I was probably travelling about 4 times a year to Sydney, where our office was based. I enjoyed it at the time. I was ready to perhaps pass it on to
someone else. Pass the baton on.
But it was a really great learning time in starting a business the other side of the world, and again we learnt lots, and actually some areas that we did in Australia we were able to bring back here to the UK, but it was fun, and it's a great country. And have you been?
No, not Australia. No. Yeah. I'm meant to be going to California next week, but anyway, we'll talk about that after this. But but I do like California. I've got a friend that lives out there who I try and get to see as much as possible. I would love to go to Australia. It's meant to be amazing. So, what would you say were your leadership qualities that you look for in other individuals? Because you sound very wise, Rorke. You sound very wise, but you're also very I don't know, you certainly come across that you just learn from everything. You take a lesson from things, whether it's a possibly good or bad experience, which I think says a lot about a person. What would you say are leadership qualities that you look for in others?
In my personal view, I think the leadership qualities I look for, and I think are so important, is number one, the ability to listen. and really understand what it is that you're perhaps being asked to make a decision about or whatever, and just be fair and allow people the opportunity that they might make a mistake, and actually that's okay, and as long as you learn from it, I think it becomes a problem if you make the same mistake continually.
Yeah.
And just to give people a chance and to set a great example.
Yeah.
Don't ask somebody to do something that you wouldn't expect to or could do yourself. But to me, the key thing is listening.
Yeah, I think that's and also I think that leading by example, not asking anyone. There's one thing delegating, but you've got to be able to do everything yourself as well. I can't do quite everything. I'm not very good at technical, but most things.
Well, you and I are the same. we need to go to that sort of, I don't know.
What, one of those courses or something, or?
I know.
God.
Or the book for dummies or whatever.
But no. I mean, I'd need someone else to read me the book for dummies. Even that I'd find confusing.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't order it online. So
we could just do Audible together, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. If you knew how to work it.
So what else do you? I mean, for anyone sort of looking at SIMMS as a company, and is there anything we've missed off talking about? We're not sort of saying how great you are, but what are you hoping to hear from your Meet the Teams today? How about that? What are you? They can't hear this; they don't know what we're saying.
No,
but what would make you really, really happy at the end of today?
I like colleagues to be very relaxed, speak how they feel and find SIMMS.
Yeah.
I hope they enjoy this experience. I think, as you said it, when you arrived, it's an enjoyable experience, and absolutely it is.
Yeah.
And I suppose for us, it's about people clearly enjoying the role, and those who are really looking to progress their career in whatever areas that we are a company that again listens and sees other opportunities to take on more responsibility. We're so proud that the current leadership team is as I mentioned, Claire's been with us 25 years, and Kevin 15 plus, Alan I think 15 plus as well. So these are colleagues who have worked with the company for a long time, and rightly so are leading the business now. And I think that's fantastic.
I'm looking forward to it. Now, a couple of little cheeky ones before we sign off today. Yeah. Was the colour red influenced by any football?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. No,
I mean, I just heard that you supported a certain. I'm not a great football fan, but I'm sure you want to tell everyone who you support.
No, we absolutely. So, 50 years ago, it makes me feel very old. Went up to the old Highbury and with my father and watched Arsenal play Blackpool, and I think whatever it was. We literally got tickets on the day in London. It could have been Crystal Palace or Tottenham or Chelsea, but we found ourselves at Highbury. And so ever since that day, where Arsenal won 1-0, obviously. Do you know the song 1-0 to the Arsenal?
I do know. And I'm just thinking about our podcast producer, Giles Paley-Phillips. He's probably literally just holding his breath right now as he listens to this, because he's a very big football supporter
of Tottenham.
I'm not going to get into it, but it's not Arsenal. No, sorry, okay. Giles.
what would be great is if the editing team can get the recording of the 1-0 to the Arsenal.
Oh, is that what you'd like?
As background.
We can make that happen. We can make that happen. We're making it happen. We can do that.
So being a lifelong Arsenal fan, and so the company has. SIMMS have 4 tickets at the Emirates.
Do they?
And so I go to maybe a third of the games, but we've got a number of colleagues who, whether they support Arsenal or don't, enjoy the Emirates experience.
So if that's not on your sort of list of questions that you ask prospective employees, do you support Arsenal?
Yeah, sometimes. If it's that sort of...
I think that's fair enough.
Yeah,
I think that's fair enough. Yeah. But you're also I mean, you've got a few strings to your bow, haven't you? Because I was told as well you're a magistrate. Is that...
I am a magistrate. Yeah, I've been a magistrate for for about 15 years here in East Kent.
Wow.
In fact, I was sitting in the family court yesterday in Canterbury, and I'm in Folkestone in the criminal court on Friday.
I mean, is there anything else you plan to do in between farming, podcast, setting up businesses, being a magistrate, going to Arsenal games? You're very calm, but you sound like you're quite accomplished. So are there any other big plans to do? You like water sports as well, don't you?
No, I like having a bath or a shower.
So there's no plan to be like jet ski or anything like that today? No, exactly.
No.
But is there any other big plans to do?
No, I feel I have a great life, and I enjoy the mixing of the magistrate's work, and obviously with SIMMS, family of got four children aged between 27 and 19, and all the challenges and helping them and enjoying being with them now that they're sort of more sort of drinking mates as opposed to having to take them to school and stuff. So I feel very, very fortunate.
Well, it's been great to talk to you today. It really has. And I'm sure we're going to get to chat to you as well over the coming weeks and months. I'm sure you're going to be appearing in a few more podcasts, and it's been great to talk to you, and thank you for launching this exciting series, and just for it's really, really interesting to hear your background story, and I think chatting to your team today is going to be very, very exciting. I'm sure they're going to have some good things to say. So well done, you, Rorke.
Well, thank you, and all your amazing team, and Giles down in Seaford. So, look, we hope you have a great day.
We will.
And we're just pleased to see you, and I look forward to working with you over the next few months.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're looking forward to making it happen. Here's to making it happen.
Absolutely. Cheers. Thank you very much.